welcome to Anshika IAS Academy. This is chapter number 23 and last chapter of the 11th Tamilnadu Board History first year. The coming of Europeans. There are mainly four topics that we will cover in this chapter. The first, the coming of Portuguese to India, establishment of Dutch, French, English and Danish trading centers in India, the Anglo-French rivalry in the Carnatic region, rise of British power in Bengal. The commercial contact between India and Europe was very old via the land route either through the Oxus Valley or Syria or Egypt, but the new sea route via the Cape of Good Hope was discovered by Vasco da Gama in 1498. Thereafter, many trading companies came to India and established their trading centers. They entered India as traders at the outset, but by the passage of time indulged in the politics of India and finally established their colonies. The commercial rivalry among the European powers led to political rivalry. Ultimately, the British succeeded in establishing their rule in India. The Portuguese. The Portuguese traveller Vasco da Gama reached the port of Calicut in 17 May 1498 and he was warmly received by Jamorin, the ruler of Calicut. He returned to Portugal in the next year. Pedro Alvarez Cabral arrived in 1500 and Vasco da Gama also made a second trip in 1502. They established trading stations at Calicut, Cananore and Cochin. The first governor of Portuguese in India was Francis de Almeida. Later in 1509, Albuquerque was made the governor of the Portuguese territories in India. 1510, he captured Goa from the ruler of Bijapur. Thereafter, Goa became the capital of the Portuguese settlement in India. Albuquerque captured Malacca and Ceylon. He also built a fort at Calicut. He encouraged his countrymen to marry Indian women. Albuquerque died in 1515, leaving the Portuguese as the strongest naval power in India. The successor of Albuquerque established Portuguese settlements at Daman, Salsette and Bombay on the west coast and the Saint Tom near Madras and Hooghly in Bengal. On the east coast, however, the Portuguese power declined in India. By the end of the 16th century, they lost all their possessions in India except Goa, Diu and Daman. In the next century, the Dutch East India Company was established in 1602. The merchants of this company came to India and established their settlements at Masulipatanam, Pulikat, Surat, Karaikal, Nagapattinam, Chinsura and Kasim Bazar. In the 17th century, they won over the Portuguese and emerged the most dominant power in Europe. Trade in the east, Pulikat was their main center in India and later it was replaced by Nagapattinam. In the middle of the 17th century, the English began to emerge as a big colonial power. The Anglo-Dutch rivalry lasted for about 7 decades, during which period the Dutch lost their settlements to the British one by one. The English East India Company was established in 1600 and the charter was issued by Queen Elizabeth of England. Captain Hawkins arrived at the royal port of Jahangir in 1609 to seek permission to establish English trading centre at Surat, but it was refused by the Mughal Emperor due to the Portuguese pressure. Later in 1612, Jahangir issued a permission letter to the English and they established a trading factory at Surat in 1613. Sir Thomas Rao came to India as ambassador of James I, the King of England, to the Mughal court in 1615. He obtained permission from Jahangir to establish English trading factory in different parts of India. The English established their factories at Agra, Ahmedabad, Baroda and Bharuch. By 1619, the English East India Company acquired Bombay from Charles II, the then King of England. In 1639, Francis de founded the city of Madras, where the Fort St. George was built. In 1690, the English factory was established at a place called Sutanati by Job Chowknock. Later, it developed into the city of Calcutta, where Fort William was built. Later, Calcutta became the capital of British India. Thus, Bombay, Madras, Calcutta became 3 presidency towns of the English settlements in India. The French. The French East India Company was formed in 1664 by Colbert, a minister under Louis XIV. The first French factory in India was established at Surat by Francis Caron. Later, Marakara set up a factory at Masulipatam. Francois Martin founded Pondicherry in 1633. Other French factories in India were Chandrinagar, Mahe and Karaikal. Francois Martin was the first governor of Pondicherry, the headquarters of the French possession in India. The Danes Denmark also established trade settlements in India. Their settlement at Trankebar was founded in 1620. Another important Danish settlement in India was Serampur in Bengal. Serampur was their headquarters in India. They failed to strengthen themselves in India and they sold all their settlements in India to the British in 1845. Anglo-French rivalry. Anglo-French rivalry. In the beginning of the 18th century, the English and the French were competing with each other to establish their supremacy in India. Both them used the political turmoil prevalent in India as a result of the decline of Mughal Empire in their favour and indulged in internal politics. The Anglo-French rivalry in India was manifest in the Carnatic region and in Bengal. The Carnatic was the downfall of Mughal Empire, led the independence of Deccan under Nizamul-Mulk. The Carnatic region also formed part of Nizam's dominion. The ruler of Karnataka accepted the suzerainty of the Nizam in 1740. The Austrian War of Succession broke out in Europe. In that war, England and France were in the opposite camps. They came into conflict in India also. The French governor of Pondicherry, Dupleix, opened attack on the English in 1746 and thus began the First Carnatic War. 1746-48, the English sought help from the Nawab of Karnataka, Anwaruddin, but the French concluded a treaty with his rival Chanda Sahib. The English army crushed a defeat on the French in the Battle of Adyar near Madras. In the meantime, the Treaty of Chapelli was concluded in 1748 to end the Austrian Succession War. Thus, the First Carnatic War came to an end. But the English and French continued to take opposite sides in the internal politics of India. This had resulted in the Second Carnatic War, 1749-1754. Dupleix supported the cause of Muzaffar Jung, who wanted to become the Nizam of Hyderabad, and Chanda Sahib as aspirant for the throne of Arcot. The troops of these three defeated Anwaruddin, who was with the British in the First Carnatic War, and killed him in the Battle of Ambur in 1749. After this victory, Muzaffar Jung became the Nizam and Chanda Sahib the Nawab of Arcot. Muhammad Ali, son of Anwaruddin, escaped to Tiruchirappalli. The English sent troops in support of him. In the meantime, the British commander Robert Clive captured Arcot. He also inflicted a severe defeat on the French at Kaveri Pakkam. Chanda Sahib was captured and beheaded in Tanjore. Meanwhile, Dupleix was replaced by Godehu as the French governor. The war came to an end by the Treaty of Pondicherry in 1754. The outbreak of 7-Year War 1756-1763 in Europe led to the Third Carnatic War 1758-63. Count Laleh was the commander of the French troops. The British General Sir Aykut defeated him at Vandivos in 1760. In the next year, Pondicherry was captured and destroyed by the British troops. The 7-Year War came to an end by the Treaty of Paris in 1763. The Third Carnatic War was also ended. The French agreed to confine its activities in Pondicherry, Karaikal, Mahe and Yanam. Thus, the Anglo-French rivalry came to a close with British success and French failure. The causes of the French failure can be summed up as follows: commercial and naval superiority of the English, lack of support from the French government. French had support only in the Deccan, but the English had a strong base in Bengal. English had three important ports, Calcutta, Bombay and Madras, but French had only Pondicherry. Difference of opinion between the French generals. England's victory in the European wars decided the destiny of the French in India. Establishment of British power in Bengal. Bengal remained one of the fertile and wealthy regions of India. The English ascendancy in Bengal proved to be the basis for the expansion of English rule in India. The conflict between the Nawab of Bengal, Sirajuddaulah, and English led to the Battle of Plassey, held on 23 June 1757. Robert Clive, the commander of British troops, emerged victorious by defeating the Nawab's army. The easy English victory was due to the treachery of the Mir Jafar, the commander of Nawab's army. Mir Jafar, the commander of Nawab's army. However, the victory of British in the Battle of Plassey marked the foundation of the British rule in India. In 1764, the English once again defeated the combined forces of Nawab of Awadh, the Mughal Emperor, and the Nawab of Bengal in the Battle of Buxar. The English military superiority was decisively established in 1765. Robert Clive was appointed as the governor of Bengal in the same year. The Treaty of Allahabad was concluded, by which the Mughal Emperor granted the Diwani rights to the English East India Company. Thus, the British power in India was thoroughly established. Learning outcomes of this chapter is growth and decline of Portuguese power in India, Dutch, English, French, and Danish settlements in India, Anglo-French rivalry, and the three Carnatic wars, growth of British power in Bengal, and Battle of Plassey. Thanks for watching. We have covered the book of Tamil Nadu history, higher secondary first year book of Tamil Nadu Board history. Thanks for watching again.